Dear scholars, please like and subscribe my channel and support my work. In this video, I will cover basics of cardiovascular system, electrophysiology of heart in detail and how heart works. The first thing here I am going to discuss about is cardiovascular system. The cardiovascular system is also known as circulatory system. It comprises heart and blood vessels. Those vessels carry blood away from the heart are known as arteries. They carry blood to the organs and tissues. Whereas those vessels carry blood toward the heart are known as veins. They carry blood back to the heart. The circulatory system carries oxygen, nutrients and hormones to cells, and it removes waste product like carbon dioxide, etc. Please note that the pulmonary vein is the only vein carries oxygenated blood, whereas pulmonary artery is the only artery carries deoxygenated blood. On the screen, you can see the circulatory system of our body. The vessels in red carries oxygenated blood, and vessels in purple color carry deoxygenated blood. In the image, you can see the basic anatomy of our heart. It has 4 chambers. Upper part has 2 atria. The upper right chamber is known as right atrium and upper left chamber is known as left atrium. And lower part has 2 ventricles. The lower right one is known as right ventricle and left one is known as left ventricle. In between right atrium and right ventricle, there is tricuspid valve. This valve has 3 leaves or 3 cusps. That's why it is known as tricuspid valve. On the other hand, in between left atrium and left ventricle, there is mitral valve. This valve is also known as bicuspid valve. The left ventricle and right ventricle is separated by ventricular septum, whereas left atrium and right atrium is separated by atrial septum. 2 other very important heart valves are pulmonary valve and aortic valve. Some of the images I have taken from the internet and hope the actual owner will not raise any legal issue, since I am using these images for education purpose. The image on the screen is detailed about valve anatomy. This is bicuspid valve or mitral valve, and this is tricuspid valve, and here aortic valve, and this one is pulmonary valve. Next one is a very important topic, and that is electrophysiology of heart. As we all know that our heart has very special features. It contains myocardial tissues, and myocardial tissues are made up of 2 types of cells, nodal cells and contractile cells. Nodal cells are also known as conducting cells. And examples of nodal cells are SA node, AV node, bundle of His, Bachmann bundle, and Purkinje fibers. The contractile cells are also known as atrial ventricular myocytes. They are a type of filamentous cells and composed of myosin and actin. This is SA node or sinoatrial node, also known as pacemaker. SA node generates electrical stimulus about 60 to 100 times per minute at normal conditions. Other nodal cells are AV node, Bachmann bundle, bundle of His, and Purkinje fibers. Here you can see bundle of His divided into 2 parts, right bundle branch and left bundle branch. Since we all know that cardiac muscles have special tissues and they possess unique properties like automaticity, excitability, contractibility, etc. Automaticity is an intrinsic properties of cardiac cells to generate spontaneous action potentials or depolarizing capability of nodal cells, whereas the excitability is an ability of myocardium to depolarize in response to a stimulus, and the other feature is contractibility. It is an ability of myocardium to contract and pump out blood of the heart. to understand how heart works, how it contracts and how it pump out blood. Also to understand ECG pattern, we must understand electrophysiology of heart. There are lots of electrical and physics terms are used in electrophysiology of heart, like voltage gated, volt, cations, electrical impulses, depolarization, repolarization, etc. Having said that, there are two types of cardiac cells. First one is a nodal cell or pacemaker cell, and second one is contractile cell or atrial ventricular myocytes. They have different resting membrane potential. The resting membrane potential of nodal cell is about -60 millivolt, whereas the resting membrane potential of contractile cell is about -90 millivolt. First, I will discuss the steps involved in depolarization and repolarization of nodal cells. As stated, the resting membrane potential of nodal cell is about -60 millivolt. This cell, I mean nodal cell, have very special feature. They have leaky sodium channel. Through this channel, sodium ions or cations move inside cell and neutralize the electronegativity of the cell. I am repeating it that these cells have very special sodium channel. They are leaky in nature. Through this, sodium ions slowly enter to the cell. This phenomenon neutralizes the electronegativity of the cell. Once the intracellular voltage reaches up to -50 or -55 millivolt, it triggers to open up T-type of calcium channel, and here calcium ions move slowly inside the cell and intracellular voltage raises up to -40 millivolt. This point is called as threshold. Once the intracellular voltage reaches up to threshold, this triggers to open another type of calcium channel, that is L-type of calcium channel. Once L-type of calcium channel open up, a huge number of cations move inside the cell and shoot up intracellular voltage up to +40 millivolt. And this phenomenon is known as depolarization of the cell or zero phase. When the membrane potential reaches up to +40 millivolt, it triggers to open a potassium channel and huge number of potassium ions move out from the cell. By now, sodium channel is closed. Only few calcium ions enter to the cell. Cell receives less cations than it is losing out. Another very important thing I want to tell you that these sodium ions move inside adjacent cell through gap junctions, and same things happen inside this cell as well, as means depolarization and repolarization. These cations move into the both types of cells, adjacent nodal cells through gap junction and adjacent contractile cell through gap junction. They stimulate to open up the T type of calcium channel. And same procedure also simultaneously happens in the adjacent cells, I mean depolarization of the cell and repolarization of the cell. The movement of cation to the adjacent cell happens in fraction of millisecond. That's why it looks like that all the cells are working together. So far I discussed the steps involved in depolarization and repolarization of the nodal cells. And now I am going to discuss about the steps involved in depolarization and repolarization of the contractile cell. As stated that the resting membrane potential of the contractile cell is about -90 millivolt. The adjacent pacemaker cell or contractile cell stimulate it, or it receives some cations from the adjacent nodal cells, and this raises the transmembrane potential up to the -70 millivolt. This point is also known as threshold membrane potential. Once the membrane potential reaches up to the threshold membrane potential, it causes to open up the voltage gated sodium channel, and huge number of sodium ions enter to the cells, and it shoots up the membrane potential up to +10 millivolt. Once the membrane potential reaches up to 10 millivolt, sodium channel is closed, and same time potassium channel is opened up, and it start releasing huge number of potassium ion outside of the cell. This leads gaining of electronegativity of the cell, and transmembrane potential reaches from plus 10 millivolt to the 0 millivolt. Once the transmembrane potential reaches to the 0 millivolt, calcium channel get more active. Now the cell gets more calcium ion. About 200 milliseconds, the net gaining of cations of the cell is about 0. Means it receives same number of cations and it moves out same number of cation outer side. So there is no changes in the transmembrane potential. It remains about 200 milliseconds at 0 millivolt, and this phase is known as plateau phase or phase 2. As time passes, these calcium channels are also closed. Only potassium channels are open and keep leaking out huge number of potassium ions. Now sodium channels are closed and calcium channels are closed. Only potassium channels are open and leaking out huge number of cations. And now cell gains electronegativity and transmembrane potential reaches from 0 to minus 90 millivolt. This phase is known as repolarization of the cell. I am recapping it that the action potentials of SA node are divided into 3 phases. Phase 4 is the resting membrane potential and it is about minus 60 millivolt. And phase 0 is the depolarization phase. During the phase 0, the transmembrane potential reaches up to plus 40 millivolt. Next and final phase is repolarization phase. As stated, there are 3 phases of the action potentials of the nodal cells: resting phase, depolarization phase and repolarization phase. Whereas contractile cells have 5 phases of the action potentials known as resting phase, depolarization phase, phase 1. Phase 1 is also known as quick repolarization phase, and phase 2 it is also known as plateau phase, and final one is a repolarization phase. Some other very important points you should note down that the resting membrane potentials of the nodal cells is about minus 60 millivolt, whereas the resting membrane potential of the contractile cells is about minus 90 millivolt. Nodal cells do not have phase 1 and plateau phase. The total time is taken by the cell to depolarize and repolarize is about 0.8 second. And in this 0.8 second, one cardiac cycle is completed. So far, we have gone through the depolarization and repolarization of the nodal cells and contractile cells. Now, how these electrical impulses or depolarization and repolarization of cells impact on the heart. The depolarization of atrial myocytes causes contraction of atria. The atrial contraction causes to squeeze out blood into the respective ventricle. Right atrium transfer blood to the right ventricle and left atria transfer blood to the left ventricle. What happens next is very important. Now these electrical impulses generated by SA node hit at the annulus fibers. By nature they are not good conductor. So question is there, how these electrical impulses travel to the lower part of the heart? Yes, there is a path or gateway present to the transfer these electrical impulses to the ventricles, and that is the AV node present in the middle of the heart. The AV node is a cluster of cells or group of special cells present in the center of the heart. It works like a gate that slows the electrical signal before it enters to the ventricles. This delay gives the atria to contract before ventricles start to contract. In a very simple way, we can say the cellular arrangement of AV node is very compact. These cells are arranged in horizontally. In resulting, the electrical impulses have to cross thousands of cell membranes to reach to the ventricle myocytes. This is delayed by about 0.1 second or 100 milliseconds. That's why upper chambers of heart contract first and lower chambers of heart contract later. Electrical impulses from the AV node to the lower part of heart are carried by the bundle of His, and this bundle of His further divided into two parts, right bundle branch and left bundle branch. Later on, these bundle branches converted into Purkinje fibers. Now, other very important thing, you should note down that the ventricular myocytes are filamentous like this, and they are less in numbers compared to nodal cells. So they quickly convert these electrical impulses to the whole part of lower chambers of the heart and make them to contract. These Purkinje fibers sends impulses to the muscular wall of the ventricles and causes them to contract, and these forces make them to bleed out of the heart to the lungs and body. Afterward, when repolarization signal reach to the myocardial cells, they make them to relax, and after the relaxation phase, the SA node fires another impulse and next cardiac cycle begins. I took this clip from Mayo Clinic to show you how heart contract and relax. You can see the visible difference in contracting times of atria and ventricles. Here you go.